there, I'm Angela Brown. I'm your host of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. And today I want to talk about how you can eat for slow metabolism and a slow thyroid. I will give you some tips on what you can do to help boost your metabolism much faster and to make weight loss a little bit easier. But first, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. So you're just going to hit the subscribe button, then hit the little bell, and you will get a notification every single week when I release my video on every single Thursday. I will give constant health tips on all things thyroid and how you can boost your metabolism. So I want to talk about what you can do to boost your metabolism and how you can eat for your thyroid. So there's so much information out there about eating for your thyroid. You see it everywhere. There's also a lot of controversy on what works, what doesn't work. I will say in all my years of practicing that I can attest to myself personally, there are certain ways that I feel help your thyroid and there are certain things that don't help your thyroid. I've been practicing for quite a while now, and just what I've seen with my clients, I've seen so many people suffer from weight gain or difficulty with weight loss with dealing with a slow thyroid when they're not eating the correct things. And I personally had this issue myself. I did try doing a super high fat diet maybe like 3 years ago, and it sent me in for a pretty bad tailspin with my thyroid, and I gained quite a bit of weight. I was pretty miserable. I just did not enjoy it at all. So I definitely have had a lot of experience with how you can deal with the eating style when it comes to dealing with a slow thyroid or slow metabolism. And I preached this before. You do not need to have a diagnosis of hypothyroidism to have a slow thyroid. You can still have sluggish thyroid symptoms. You can have difficulty losing weight. And it can all be connected to thyroid, but it doesn't mean that you have a thyroid issue as far as the diagnosis where you need like medication. So I just want to preface that. So one of the first things that I address is I look at your carbohydrate intake. So carbs are really, really important when it comes to thyroid. Your thyroid kind of feeds off of good carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates I'm referring to are your starchier carbs. So these are going to be sweet potatoes, butternut squash, things like that. You do have to be careful if you have diagnosis of Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune aspect of hypothyroidism. Then sometimes you have to be a little bit careful with nightshades, which would be like potatoes. So you know, kind of be on the lookout for that, because there is some issues with some people do have that issue. But as a general rule, with a slow thyroid, I typically will recommend starchier carbs. They're going to be your best bet. They have a boatload of potassium in them. A lot of times there's about 500 milligrams per 1 cup. You need 4,700 milligrams a day of potassium just to normal function. That is not including if you actually have low potassium in your body. If you have a slow thyroid, that's just everyday function. That's a lot of milligrams. So that's why I'm really, really big pushing starchier carbohydrates, your healthier carbohydrates, especially with a slow metabolism, because potassium is really needed to convert T4, which is inactive thyroid hormone, to T3. So I preach this all the time to my clients who come to me and we do the hair test. If their potassium is low, I'm going to push potassium. And I really like pushing potassium from food as much as I can because it's very absorbable and it's pretty easy to do with food. Other things that have a good amount of potassium, coconut water, celery juice, things like that will really help boost your potassium levels as well. So this is one of the big reasons why I'm so adamant about keeping carbohydrates in your diet when you are suffering from a slow metabolism. Now, when I say carbs, I am talking about those starchy carbs. I'm not talking about the crap ones. They're really, really nasty processed things, you know, sugar, things like that. You have to still be cautious with the carbohydrates that you're eating. You can have fruits. That's not an issue. But for some, that's too much sugar. I'm one of those. If I have too much fruit, it will affect me. I do better with the starchier carbs. And the reason is because there's so much potassium in them. So that's kind of the route that I would go. Now, as far as protein content, you kind of got to have high protein. You kind of need to load up. Your body needs those amino acids when it comes to thyroid health and your metabolism. Don't go stingy on the protein. I usually say if your metabolic rate is really slow and you are really struggling with weight loss, you need to get in a really high amount of protein. Like 40% of your caloric intake could be protein. That's not easy to do, you know, by chewing that much protein. Sometimes people can't do that. So that's when you start throwing in healthier protein powders and collagen, gelatin, things like that, because that has a lot of protein that you can put in like a smoothie or a shake or something like that. So you don't have to like chew 140 grams of protein a day, which can be a challenge. So you really want to keep that protein intake up. Now the fat content, this is where it kind of gets tricky. So I am not a proponent of going super low fat for anybody. Everybody needs healthy fats. Your brain needs healthy fats. A lot of organs need healthy fats. So you can't go stingy and just not have fats at all. And I do like to ask this as well as have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that when you did go too high fat that your metabolism slowed down? That's exactly what happened with me. I went way, way high fat and my metabolism completely bottomed out. It really sent me for a tailspin. So has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had that? If it has, comment below. I'd love to know because I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And there's other people that this has happened to. I'm pretty positive. So as far as the fat content goes, be careful with that, okay? Like I said, you don't need to like completely cut fat out. Don't go low fat because you still need it. But don't go super high fat. You know, 40% of your caloric intake in fat, that's pretty high still because you got to remember fat is 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbs only 4. So if fat gets up too much and too high, takes a lot more energy to burn off the fat that you're taking in because the calories are much higher. So it's energy inducive. If your metabolism is already slow and you start throwing in a crap ton of fat, your body has to burn all that and it's very energy inducive. So if you're already slow, you're going to slow it down more. That's why a lot of times a higher fat diet doesn't work always for people with a slow thyroid. Especially with a diagnosis of hypothyroidism, I generally will not recommend high fat just because it is very energy inducive to try to break down that fat and burn it off. So just be cautious with that. Again, if you are having fats, which you do need them still, like I said, you got to have healthy fats. So we're not talking those crap ones, okay? Nut butters, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, things like that. Those are your healthier fats. And then the fats and meats, you know, you don't need to have all low fat meat. You can still have fat and meat as long as they're healthier cuts of meats, okay? So those are kind of my tips. Those are the things that I found personally that helped me and that I've seen over the years that have helped my clients when it comes to dealing with a slow metabolism and a slow thyroid. So if you have any more questions at all, please let me know. I would love to chat with you. I do have my free guide going still. So if you want more answers on some causes why your thyroid or your metabolism could be slowing down, click on the link below because I do have that guide going still where you can get that. Plus you'll get put on my email list where you'll get the weekly email that will have my YouTube video and other things that I put out as well. All the latest news of anything that I'm doing will also be in that. And then again, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, hit the little subscribe button, hit the bell because you will get notifications every Thursday that I put my video out. That always helps me too when I see what people are wanting as well for videos. And then, like I said, give me a comment. Let me know what you think about this video, and I would love to chat with you too. So hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.